and welcome to another episode of Beer for Breakfast, ABV. I am Danielle from Marty and Danielle in the Morning on 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, Paul Segura, brewmaster of Karl Strauss. And we are stoked to welcome Kelsey McNair, owner of North Park Beer Company. Hey, dude, what's up?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Stoked to be here.
Not just owner, but like owner, brewer, jack of all trades, glycol repairman.
Well, when you own a brewery, you got to do all the things. It's just what's required. So
he's a Renaissance.
Truly is, and he's a clean-shaven Renaissance guy, as opposed to about a month ago, I think, when we last hung out.
Yeah, I had a big fro going. You know, it was unruly. It was my COVID locks. I got vaccinated and got my hair cut, so they totally butchered it. So I'm wearing a hat. You know, that's how it goes.
Nice thing about hair, it grows back. Unless you're Paul Segura. Womp womp womp.
Unless you're me, yeah, right.
Well, guys, let's get right into this. Kelsey, I'm super stoked that we're starting with one of my all-time favorite beers that you make at North Park Beer Company, Hop Foo.
Yes, Hop Foo is our reason for being here. Cheers.
Cheers. Such a great beer.
Thanks.
I just love the aromas coming off of this.
Super bright, floral, citrus, a little piney.
I get more citrus than pine. A lot of orange, grapefruit as well. So good. And it's just so bright.
And super fresh too.
Oh yeah, this was your crowlers came straight off of the bright, so this is as fresh as it could be. We're canning this Tuesday of this week. So actually, yesterday,
you know, Inception this week. But I will say that's one of the most awesome things about what you do over at North Park Beer Company is your cans are always incredibly fresh. I don't think I've ever had a beer from North Park Beer Company that I was like, this is kind of, you know, a little seasoned. It's always crisp fresh.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like at our capacity and the way that we're packaging off beers, you know, we can either 2 or 3 beers a week right now. And we're able to move through them at a pretty good clip. So yeah, pretty much anything we have, you know, for sale is very fresh. And then what you see, you know, out at your local stores is obviously going to be super fresh too, because we don't distro that much. It's usually very small quantities per account. So yeah, fresh beer, you know, that's been my MO for, you know, getting into this. Definitely want everything bright, fresh, tasty. No old beer for me. That's the way to do it.
Hop Foo to me is like that quintessential West Coast IPA. It's got everything I want. It's got the dryness. It's got the very hop forward. Not quite aggressive, but very hop forward. And you just, I don't know what hop varieties you use in this. Perhaps some Citra.
Yeah, there's Citra, there's Simcoe, there's Amarillo. You've got some CTZ. There's a little Chinook in there to provide some bitterness. Like you said, it's not too aggressive, but I like Chinook because it's very specific. You know, it's got a certain bite to it. There's some Mosaic in there too. But yeah, it's a lot of my favorite hops, and you know, I've been brewing this beer since I was, you know, home brewing. I think the first batch of Hop Foo was like 2006, and a lot of those hops have remained the same, you know, over the years. It's just kind of evolved and, you know, gotten more and more refined over time. But I truly love where this beer is at right now. This is our 60th commercial batch.
Congratulations!
Yeah, wow. It weighs in at 7.5, but it drinks like 6.5. And it makes you like want more. And that's kind of weird for a 7.5, right?
Yeah. It's that dryness for me, and it's just all about the balance of, you know, the bitterness and the dryness, and, you know, just having just enough body keeps it super crushable. But yeah, for a beer, you know, it's dangerous. It always was. I mean, like, I kind of designed the recipe as like a tweener, it's like right on that edge of being a double IPA, but still qualifies as a, West Coast IPA.
So there might be some people out there who have not ventured into North Park Beer Company yet. I don't know what they're doing with their life. But for those who haven't, there's something on tap for everybody. My wife had a wit beer that was very solid. I had a stout that was very solid. You had the Pilsner, right, Danielle?
No. I went straight for the West Coast IPA, the Mr. Hoppy. That beer was delicious.
Oh, thank you so much.
But like every beer is a good example of what it's intended to be.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's everything's solid and it's super crushable.
And just to lob on to Paul, the staff also, everybody really knowledgeable, really nice. Like any questions that I saw anybody have about any kind of beer, really took the time to explain it to make sure that everybody got exactly what they wanted. So cheers to your staff as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of our staff. They definitely go above and beyond, and we do our best to make sure that everybody's really knowledgeable about what they're serving and how to serve it, and just deliver a great hospitality experience. That's such an important aspect of it. It's yes, the liquid is so important, but at the same time, you want to make sure everybody's having a great experience every time they visit.
Shout out to Manny the mailman behind the bar. He's really good and really knowledgeable.
Manny's the best.
So before we go into our next beer, obviously the last year has been super crazy for everyone, but how did North Park Beer Company handle the pandemic and the constant change? And what was that like for you as an owner of a small business?
Obviously the craziest possible thing we could deal with. If you've been here, you know that this is more of a pub. It's not a production facility that's designed to, crank out a ton of cans. But the second we, got those lockdown orders, I just said, all right, hit the pause button for like a couple of days. And I was like, all right, we're already canning infrequently with a mobile canning company. Let's get them on the schedule more often. Just started canning every drop of beer that we made. And went from all right, we're canning 4 tanks, in one day, 16-hour day, we'll do it again in 4 weeks. And it was like, we did that twice before it was like, all right, let's actually build a schedule. This is going to go on and on and on. So we started canning every 2 weeks. And then finally it's been weekly, and we got the tanks situated so that, we're canning either 2 or 3 tanks a week. And it's been interesting because, I think a lot of our, pre-COVID business was, yes, people were aware of us to some degree, but a lot of it was, oh, I happen to be in North Park. This place looks interesting. I'm going to go there, and that's how people found us. And then suddenly we actually had, a beer that was, in a can, and it was at stores. People started realizing that we were, a brewery, more than we ever were. And, while there's been just a bunch of horrible things that have come with this pandemic, that is the one silver lining for us, is that people found us in big ways. We ship all over the state now, direct to customers, and we have a lot of regulars that are, in NorCal. And that's really neat. I just never would have expected it. So we kind of rolled with the punches. And it's wonderful now that we're starting to come out of this, and people who've discovered us through our cans are actually coming to pay us a visit now. And that's really neat. So, as challenging as it's been, coming out of it, I feel like we're only going to be 10 times stronger. So it's, just made the lemonade out of the lemons.
That's awesome, Kelsey.
Yeah. I bet was Mastiff keeping busy during that whole time too? Are they selling packages or something to go?
Not Not too much. I mean, like initially they started doing they changed their menu up a little bit and started doing some stuff, but it was really not very sustainable for them. So they kind of had to take a couple steps back and wait until things were, made more sense for them. Just because, obviously you need to be selling a lot of food, running a restaurant's an incredibly complicated business in and of itself. And if your labor costs are out of whack, it's just not going to work. So, but they're back at it. We're actually open for lunch now, through the week, and that pre-pandemic wasn't a thing. So that's kind of interesting. Now we're open even more hours than we were before. And that's, I love that. Like, that's really exciting.
Awesome thing. I do want to say one of the best beers that I had during the pandemic was Win the West. That beer, not only was the can really awesome and all of the logos and everything, but the beer was delicious also. I hope that turns into a regular occurrence.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our tribute to Padres. I think we'll definitely do that beer, during baseball season on a regular basis. As the season goes on, we'll probably look at bringing another batch out. But yeah, that one's quickly become a crowd favorite for sure.
Is good. Well, what is this next delicious juice bomb that we have here?
Yeah, so this is So Much Excite. And I do have a can for preview.
Nice.
You'll see there's this little logo. It says Phantasm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a really interesting one. I had heard about this new product that was developed by a garage project out in New Zealand. And what it is, Phantasm is a freeze-dried Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc New Zealand grape skin. And it's highly concentrated. And the idea is that there are compounds called thiols, which when you add this during fermentation, those thiols can be manifested into all these really interesting tropical fruit flavors. And they haven't made this product widely available. I mean, really, the breweries who've used it that I was aware of are places like Other Half, and I know Modern Times tinkered with it a little bit, Monkish, and Green Cheek, Cellar Maker, handful of others, but it's really interesting. It added a little bit of acidity to the beer, so it's not tart for me, but it is sharp, I would say.
Ooh, I like that characteristic.
It's really juicy, like definitely has a grapiness, but more so, like, I don't know, it's pretty cool.
It's grapey, but it still has some nice fruity residual sugar that's there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because I've always associated thiols with kind of a sulfur-like aroma in beer. That's
right.
That's often not pleasant, but I get nothing but pleasantness out of this. This is just really nice, white grape like fruitiness.
Yeah, so I mean, there is some Citra in there and some Nelson, Galaxy. So we've got some really nice fruity hops to complement that. But even though this is double dry hopped, we did kind of lighten up our total amount of dry hops to really kind of let that Phantasm take over. But yeah, I'm pleased. I definitely want to tinker around with it some more.
It does have that white grape like finish, right? And it plays well nicely. It's married nicely with like the orange hoppy flavor from Galaxy. Really nicely done, man. This is like a really interesting, unique flavor. I'm thinking I'm going to need to finish the rest of this can just to do a little bit more market research.
Careful, you got too much work to do today.
And by the way, the guys at Garage Project, they do some they really push the envelope. Those guys do really distinct, unusual, interesting beers, and they play around with all sorts of stuff. I've had like carrot cake beer from them, and I mean, these guys really they push the envelope on what beer actually is. They do a lot of really interesting stuff, and anytime anybody sees Garage Project out there, snatch it up, and you're going to be in for an interesting ride.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
And their beer is literally in what used to be, I think, a garage, like a auto repair place.
Oh, how fun. Well, Kelsey, once again, an amazing showing of beers from North Park Beer Company. I love having you in my neighborhood. It's always nice to have good beers easily accessible. Is there anything that you would like to leave the peoples with on what's going on with North Park Beer Company?
Yeah, well, these two beers that we sampled, both are released this week. We also have a follow-up batch of a beer called Wizard Cup, which is a Strata lager that we brewed with Modern Times. So cans of that are available. And then, we're at 3038 University Avenue here in North Park. And, if you want to find out about what's going on, sign up for our mailing list on the website. Check us out on Instagram at North Park Beer Co. And the website's northparkbeerco.com. But yeah, I would love to, we're things are opening back up, and I love seeing everybody's faces in here, and, especially having you guys come in is always a real pleasure. So, come in, check us out, have some beers.
The restaurant's really comfortable and inviting, and you guys have done a great job, like spacing the tables apart. I think it's even more than 6 feet. And my wife, who's really paranoid, felt very comfortable in there. And like, the top area is not even open yet, but it feels like, it was pretty. Every table had people sitting there, and they were all enjoying themselves, and it was a really good hang there.
Good vibes for sure.
Anybody who's still feeling like trepidation about going out or feeling weird about going out doesn't need to feel that way about going to North Park Brewing Company, because it's nice. It's a good hang.
Yeah, we're taking things very seriously. We want to make sure everybody feels safe and comfortable, and really they are safe. So that's what we're trying to do.
And the quicker that we can get there, the sooner the skee ball lanes can reopen in North Park Beer Company.
Absolutely.
Kelsey, thank you so much for joining Paul and I for Beer for Breakfast ABV. This Friday morning, Paul will be joining myself and Marty on 91X for Beer for Breakfast at 9:10 Pacific Standard Time. We will be drinking North Park Beer Company beers, so please join us. And as always, cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego.
Cheers.
Go out and support your local brewery, everybody.